Hey, audience. We're about to start getting prepared right now. Awesome. About to rock some madness. Looking for two people, Sam and Militia. Oh, there's Militia right there. Um, Hold on one second. All right. And Militia. We got her. All right. Hey,
Hey, how are you?
what's up? I'm totally rocking cool. My I don't know what my co-host is. She'll hopefully be on here soon. And we're waiting for her, but I still want to introduce you anyways, man. This is an honor. I know this has been a while. Lots of stuff has happened and stuff.
Yeah.
Oh, there she is. Sam, we got you. Let's see. I think
Hi,
she's.
Jen. Hi, honey child. Hi, Sunny.
What's up,
Yes.
Nick? Oh,
Yes.
honey child. Yeah, what's up? Oh
Oh,
my.
hi, friends.
All the homies are coming up.
They
Oh,
are. Oh, sorry, my screen is crazy.
oh no, it's cool. I'm pretty hood over here, so Sam's having trouble. I'm trying to invite Sam, and I don't know what's Instagram's tripping, man. They be tripping like bad. But we're gonna rock this. Sam, I sent you an invite. I don't know what's going on, and I tried this earlier with a few of my cats a few hours ago just to make sure. So we're gonna
Mhm.
um I would like to introduce you though. Wow. This is a mouthful because you've done so much. And for all of you guys that don't know, this lady is a Jill of all trades. Like, seriously, she is a superhero. Like, man, singer, songwriter, composer, director, producer. I mean, a gang of awards, played with artists. I mean, played and recorded with artists like Cyndi Lauper, Rob Halford. I got some questions about Halford. Dee Snider, Corey Glovers, Nancy Sinatra, members of Parliament, or just Parliament Funkadelic, members of the Dictators, Sandra Bernhardt, Paul Schaefer. There's a long list this lady has been involved with, dude. Like, need I say more? Has performed off Broadway and Carnegie Hall. Let's introduce Militia Vox, and straight up Veterans Day.
Yeah, I'm a
Man,
music veteran.
yes, you are. Yes, you are.
It's true. Yeah, thank you for that
Man.
that introduction. Wow. It's amazing. Like I was watching the David Foster documentary the other night. Hi,
And
how
this
are
is
you?
Hello.
Samantha Hollins,
Yeah.
aka Ghetto Songbird, Culture Rock Griot. She's my honored co-host who has her own thing, and it'd be cool. It's so cool that you guys. I'm honored to have y'all both, and she's my co-host, and we're gonna be asking y'all questions. So I mean, asking you questions, Militia. So I don't
Okay.
know. Yeah,
Hang on.
but I'm sorry. What did you say? I'm so sorry about that.
Oh no, I was saying I watched this like David Foster documentary the other night. And you know who David Foster is. He produced I Will Always Love You and the arrangement with Whitney Houston, and like he's done like all these things, gotten all these accolades. And he was like, Monday, Wednesday, Friday, I feel like I can do anything and I can take on the world. And then Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday, I feel like I've done nothing and I'm shit.
Uh-huh.
Man,
Definitely.
And that's like
Yeah.
the curse of a musician,
Yeah.
isn't it?
yeah.
When he
I
said that, I was like, wow, that rings so true for like me and everybody I know. You
Yeah.
know,
I definitely feel that way too. It's how I'm feeling right now.
right? It's
But it's so
crazy.
great to be here with you and to be able to be a part of this tonight.
Hell yeah. Well, thank you guys for having me. I appreciate that you were persistent. Because
Hey, it's an
I'd be
honor,
like, yeah, I'd
man.
love to talk to you. And then it was like, yeah.
It it's such an honor because the thing is, one thing that I'm really happy about social media, it's brought us all together. I've been in the rock and roll most of my all my life pretty much, and like It's so funny because most people, you know, would think that this is a music that's far away from us. But when I'm seeing people like yourself, it's showing that not only we have been doing it, we're still doing it right now. And it
Right.
makes a whole difference, you know.
And legacy
And I've actually,
is so important. Legacy, because you have a wonderful legacy. And I don't feel like, even like with Rolling Stone and everything is going on right now, we can't wait for others to celebrate the legacy. So we celebrate you right now and your legacy, because you are a legend. You're an icon in our field and what we do. And the world knows about you in their own right. So celebrating that legacy is so important.
Oh, thank you. I appreciate that. It's so weird. Like, I played this festival in DC when like there were like major protests breaking out about gun control, and like I was there for this like crazy event, and they introduced me as a pioneer, and I was like, I'm not that old. And then I was like, well, fuck, maybe I am. I don't know. I'm just like, I've been in the game for so long.
That's
And
exactly.
like, and I think I always just kind of felt like I had no choice. Like, it chose me. So like, what was I supposed to do? It's like, I was just compelled from day one. And it's been like a blessing most days and a curse some days. But it's always been like my respite and my saving grace. So like, it's everything, you know. And it's cool to see other lifers here, such as yourselves, that like, this is your lifeblood and this is what you do, and like, this is what excites you too. Like, you can't even, it's like, this is what gets you off. It's completely sexual, I'll take it there. Like, it literally gets you off, and like, you have no choice as to what excites you in that way. And to me, rock, alternative, metal, goth, industrial, all of these, you know, not so much mainstream genres, like, really still excite the fuck out of me. And obviously they do to you too. I see that Suffocation shirt.
yeah, representing. And I know you East
Yeah,
Coasters really know. Shouts to Terrence
yeah.
Todd.
And like, you know, I just have always felt like part of a really cool club as far as rock and roll is concerned, you know. So it's always been oh, hey, what's up, Mike? Nice to see you, or see your name in print and get the love back at you. Yeah, it's kind of weird, but it's like I forget how long I've been doing this sometimes, and I go, oh fuck, like I started performing heavy music in 1997.
Awesome.
Wow.
And I'm just like, it just feels like you're on a train and just all the images flash by.
When did
So,
You know,
like,
it's really fun.
even as you started, like, what I have to ask, what got you into heavy music, and like, what was the first band that even got you on that, or artist that got your attention with that, if you don't mind me asking?
Yeah. Well, my dad is a record collector, so he would always be like, okay, you're my daughter, so you need to know this. And he would give me like King Crimson, or he'd give me like Iron Butterfly or Traffic, or like all of these like mostly psychedelic progressive rock bands, you know. So like I would just like lay on the floor in my room and like stare up at the ceiling and try to like figure out like how the fuck do they know like to put what note where, and like how the fuck do they, how do these guys, how do they even know each other, because I didn't know any musicians, like none. I was by myself, you know. And I was a classical pianist. I started at age 8 playing
Wow.
like heavy hardcore classical
Gee.
music. I mean, I was a competitive pianist by the time I was 12, you know.
Man.
I
What
mean,
got you on? I'm sorry.
I competed at Peabody in Baltimore. That was, Tori Amos went there, you know. It was like, it was not for the weak, you know. And I was considered one of the best in my region, you know. So it was just like, you know, they'd hired me to like play at the mall at Christmas time, or like something like so weird and rural, you know. But I just found it so boring after a while, you know, because I was just like, this scene, like, I'm like, everybody here is like robots, you know. They're playing it so like basic, and so it just sounds like there's no heart in it though. You know,
Man.
like some of them are nailing it, but there's no heart. So like, what's the point? And so like, I used to get criticized for playing too aggressively or playing, sitting on the bench improperly, scandalous,
Wow.
or like,
Yeah.
anything, putting too much personality into the music. And I was like, oh, fuck this. I want to be somewhere where someone's telling me how to play. Like, I'm the fucking player, So classical was just way too rigid. And finally, like, I tested out of piano. Like, music conservatory, they told me, we have nothing left to teach you.
Wow.
And it was like, oh, cool. Now what? Now what do I do? But when I was like, I don't know, like 13, there was like this group of like neighborhood boys. It's always some boy, right? Like there's that group of neighborhood boys, and they were like, this one of them was like, hey, I'm teaching myself to play Metallica songs on the guitar. And I was like, what's Metallica? And it was like Pandora's box just like opened up.
There you go.
And like the first song I heard by them was Battery.
Oh,
And like, so like when it started, I was like, this is classical music.
Yes.
I was like, I speak this language. Like, I was like, oh shit. And I was like, but it's classical music loud. Like, I really speak this language. I was like, it was like going to a foreign country and like not speaking the language. And all of a sudden you find one person that's like, hey, what's up? And you're like, oh, thank God. That's what it felt like. It felt like, I was like, wow, I understand what they're saying, So Metallica just like opened all doors to me, but it still seemed like this far away, distant thing. I didn't know anybody he was playing like in his bedroom, this guy, so I didn't know anyone that was doing it professionally. There was nobody around me in my orbit that did music for a living. That was like, that was just like, seemed like some impossible thing. And so I would watch like the Grammy Awards or American Music Awards. I'd be like, okay, all these people are in a room together. Well, how do I get there? Because I need to go where the musicians are. Because like nobody here is doing that. So how do I do that? And so like, I remember my first rock concert was Duran Duran.
Oh, I love it.
Yeah. So like my first rock concert, and this was at Meriwether Post Pavilion in Columbia, Maryland. And my parents brought me because I was a kid, and like everybody there was like high school students, and I was like, I kept standing up on the chair and I was screaming at them, I'm one of you! Take me with you! And my parents were like, get down! I was like, no, I gotta go! Like, I gotta go where they're going. Like, they're on tour. That's like the greatest thing I ever heard in my life, And like, I just wanted to completely stow away in their tour van because they were the only musicians I had seen in person.
Wow.
That was my first time like seeing a band, in person, like rocking the fuck out like they did on MTV. Yeah. And they were right there in my face for the first time. Like, you'd be like, oh fuck, there's John Taylor, there's Simon Le Bon, like
Nick Rhodes.
Yeah, it just was like, they're standing right in front of me. Like, of course I can talk to them, right? Like, please.
Man, truth
But
be
yeah,
told,
my harassment of musicians continued long after that. So,
dude, truth be told, that was the first band that I ever got into as a kid. Like seriously, back in the early '80s. Yeah. I'm like, oh, cool. I've never seen them live though. I have to see them.
They put out like a goth record recently. I thought that was so cool. Yeah, I dig them, man. No one sounds like Duran Duran.
Not at all.
Very singular. Yeah, very singular. I named my dog after them. Because that concert changed my life. I was like, I just knew that I wanted to do what they were doing, Man. And then like, we used to get like summer tickets, and you'd had to like be like, okay, we can select 5 concerts at Meriwether or whatever. And my mom was like, we're going to see Tina Turner.
Oh wow. And
I was like, oh, Ma, like, she's old. Like, if I want to see Tina Turner, that's your shit, And she was like, we're going to see Tina Turner. Like, not debatable. And I was like, all right. We go see Tina Turner. And like, as soon as she hit, I was like, I want to do that.
Wow. Fire.
Whatever. Yeah. I was like, that's it. That is the key to life. Like, I was like, fuck. she looked so amazing up there and just like commanded the whole arena. Like you just couldn't take your eyes off of her. She's all leathery and shit, and like, you know, she's sweating under that huge dome of a wig and shit. And it was just like, she just rolled the room. It was nuclear, you know? And so I was like, okay, if her country ass can figure it out, so can I. Like, I was like, I need to figure out how to get from A to B like she did. But like, you know, this was pre-internet. There was no, you know, there was no way of connecting with people in that way yet. I mean, everything was like snail mail, or you hung out at like record and tape traders shops or whatever, you know, and just hoped that you met somebody that was into what you were into. But, you know, I grew up in Maryland, so like, you know, the record shops were like, it was like you went to the mall, you know, or you went to Baltimore, which was like really like exotic and kind of risky, you know, a little dangerous at times, you know. But yeah, once I was able to hang out in Baltimore, that really did change things. Like Baltimore and DC music scene was like very eye-opening. I'd never seen anything like it. But yeah, that's kind of like the trajectory. But did I answer your question?
Oh yeah, man! Like
Okay.
it's so cool. I have to ask, like, was your first band, the goth band, Astra? Oh, how could I forget the name of that band? They're on Cleopatra. My friend Eva was on that label for a little bit. Cleopatra was interesting. It was ran by the guy in Dead or Alive, right? Rest in peace.
Yeah.
How did that all come about, and like, how did you join that band? Disciples of Astaroth,
Yeah.
right? Like,
Yeah, that's
what
right.
was that about?
Ooh, so there were a lot of drugs involved. Let's see. This was like, fuck. I just got into college, and I was in heaven because it was like there were other performers. Everybody was a musician or a singer or an actor or whatever. So in Boston, like Boston Conservatory and Berkeley are like, well, they're the same school now. They're combined now. But it was just like, I mean, Boston's wild for college students anyway, you know? So when I got there, it was like, that was fucking Shangri-La. It was like, wow, I'm surrounded by all these people and everybody understands this passion, you know? So it was really exciting time. And I met this guy. It's always some fucking guy. I met this guy and we started dating, and he had started a band and he was at Berkeley. He was super hot. And he was like, yeah, you're an actor, so like, could you come and cry on our goth album? And I was like, what?
Oh my god!
You want me to cry? And he's like, yeah. He was like on this track. He was like, have you ever heard of Typo Negative? And I was like, what's Typo Negative? Had no idea. You know, keep in mind I was like 17 at the time, you know, and they were like, oh, you got to listen to this song. So he played Red Water for me, the Typo Negative song, where there's like the crying section in the middle, you know. And they're like, can you do it like this, like real sad and gothic? And I was like, sure, yeah, like I'll figure it out. And so I did it, and we cut the track, and I was like, that was really cool. Like, I just sang on a song. So that was like a milestone that I never really, it just fell into place. Like, it was very a natural flow of events. And then they were like, hey, do you want to like be in the band? And I was
That's
like,
awesome.
oh, you want me to be in your band? Like, it was like I just never imagined or never thought that I could be in a band. I mean, I wanted to, but I couldn't believe I was actually asked to be in a band, you know? Because they all like kind of knew what they were doing, and I didn't know shit. I was still trying to figure things out. And I had already started writing songs, but not like, it was all like, you know, like Dear Diary stuff. It was very like fragments of stuff. And then one day I actually wrote a full song, and I was like, that's not bad. Like, I don't hate it. Okay. But I never was like, I'm going to be a songwriter. Like, that never cross my mind because I always thought that I didn't know how to do it.
Wow.
Right. So I was like, oh, somebody else knows how to do it, but I don't know how to do it. And then Disciples of Astaroth had another singer, a male singer, and he didn't really know how to write songs either, but he knew nightlife. He actually, the band was really progressive because he was doing drag. He was doing dark drag before it was a thing. Like everyone talks about like RuPaul's Drag Race, like Sharon Needles and all that shit, and how like crazy and dark she is. It's like, nah, baby. My singer Britt the Unholy was doing that shit in the 90s and probably even late 80s because he was older than me. I had never seen anyone perform like him. He was doing performance art, like dark drag performance art.
Man.
Like he would do drag to Ministry's Psalm 69.
Whoa.
Okay. Like this was hardcore shit. So he was the one that we would like sit up and like after a night out we'd be all gothed out, you know, like in our black vinyl lip service outfits and stuff. We had gone to Man Ray and like it was this whole scene. And we'd come back to the apartment and do like a shit ton of drugs. And he'd say like, oh, yeah, let's just write some stuff. And I'd be like, oh, fuck, like this is what I don't know how to do. And he'd be like, sure you do. Like, what's on your mind? Like, what's going through your mind right now? And I'd be like, good that I'm like freaking out because I don't know how to do this, you know? And he's like, no, just like write whatever you're thinking. And then we just started like writing and he's like, yeah, wouldn't that sound good if it was like delivered like this? Or wouldn't it sound good if the next line went like this? And we just, that's how I learned to songwrite, was like me and my dark drag queen friend in Boston while we were like doing mescaline dots, you know? So it was like, it was crazy, but I wouldn't trade that experience for anything because it was so real. There was a circle of us, a circle of goths. It was me, my ex Nick, who now is in like a pretty hardcore goth industrial band. They tour the world. It's called like FGFC. I don't even know what it is. It's a bunch of numbers and letters, but they tour a lot. Britt, I don't think does drag anymore, and Bobby, who is the bass player or guitar player, is now like hot gay like leather daddy now, like muscle daddy. And we hung out with Ben Graves, who was in the Murder Dolls, if you know that band.
Yeah.
That was our boy. And Eric Griffin, who was also in the Murder Dolls, and played with like, I mean, they both played with like a bunch of bands. And this guy Ken, and we were all in this weird little dark coven. And we all like hung out and like made music.
Yeah.
If we felt so inclined. Actually, we made a lot of music in a short amount of time. And then our band manager, Kathy, had met, I think his name is Brian from Cleopatra, who still runs it now.
Wow.
And I think they had a romantic entanglement. And at some point, she said, by the way, you should really check out this band. And he did. And then we ended up on the Cleopatra Records album, the Dead Can Dance tribute album. Wow. Because if you remember, like in the 90s, Cleopatra put out a bunch of a tribute to ... album, right? And so we were on that one, and we were the last track on the album, yeah. And it was our first like official release, and it was like, holy shit, we're doing this, like this is happening.
Yeah.
Like we just like. But keep in mind, we were killing the nightlife scene in Boston. Like, so our first gig was in the Middle East downstairs. I mean, that's like a highly coveted room.
Wow.
And like, we just slayed him. Like, at our first show, I was just like, wow, this is like electric. I need to keep
it's a
doing
trip because I always hear about the Boston hardcore scene, but I don't hear much about the goth scene out there, you know, so this is cool for me to.
Big.
Wow. I know about the LA goth scene because I'm from here, but you know, and I have friends that are in that, you know, like, but that's a trip to hear that, you know.
No. you don't understand. There was no real scene. There was the one club and us. Like, that was it. It was just
Wow.
a timing thing because there were no other goth industrial bands in Boston at the time.
Wow.
It was just us. Because we would always try to like play with other bands. There was nobody. So we were like, fuck it. All right, I guess we're getting drag queens to open for us. And that's what we did.
That's awesome.
Yeah. So like our shows
Yeah.
were just like these big, chaotic, like this crazy, like mixed bag of like drag queens, queer kids, goths, like the little goths that were there, like college kids, Harvard kids. I mean, it was so random. But like everybody would be there just like throwing the fuck down and dancing. It was wild.
Man,
Yeah.
what a trip.
Yeah, it
Uh,
really was. But like we
somebody
just like
who got
all,
oh, who
how would
got
you
the
say?
video? Somebody said who got the video.
Who's
Oh,
got
who's
the
got the
videos?
videos?
Is
There
there
actually there are some videos. They're floating around. I have nothing, unfortunately. I have our only full-length album, and I have the Dead Can Dance album. But
Yeah.
my bandmates, I know, have like full sets, like they have concerts. So they're sitting on them, or they're in a Tupperware bin somewhere, or who knows what. There is some stuff on YouTube, but like not much. Yeah.
Wow.
But
Wow.
that was the timing, you know, like nobody had a video camera. We were like poor college kids,
Yeah.
you know, so it was like it just wasn't a thing.
Mm-hmm.
So the band kind of disintegrated like once I got out of college, and it was like, okay, not staying in Boston anymore, so we got to figure this out. And so like
That was my next question. How
yeah.
did you Boston to New York, and what was that vibe like changing from one scene to a new scene?
Yeah. Well, I always knew that I would move to New York eventually. And right after college, because I went to college for musical theater, of all things, because a teacher told me that, hey, you're really good at musical theater, so you could have a career in theater. And I was like, really? So I was like all over the place, like, oh, I don't know, I want to do it all. And then they would say, nobody does it all. I'd be like, well, I might. Yeah, like I think I will. So I moved to New York knowing that I wanted to do music and theater. And it was like the scene was weird because it was like early 2000s, you know? So that Y2K vibe.
Okay.
And all these amazing clubs that I had heard about through the grapevine were getting shut down, you know? So it was like, oh, CBGB's is closing. And I mean, I did get to play there. I did play there. But it was like, oh, the things that I moved here for are starting to disappear already.
Man.
Right? And like the music scene that I had heard about all this time is disappearing as well. And so it was really kind of like eye-opening to be like, fuck, I feel like I like got on the late bus. Like it was just like I just got here too late, born too late. And the theater scene was strange too because my type didn't exist on stage yet, right?
Wow.
So like I knew that there was other like beige kids with kinky hair coming to these auditions, but we weren't getting jobs, you know? So it was like, oh, you're too light skinned to be in the black show, and then you're too black to be in the white show. So you better go audition for the Lion King or else you got nothing else. You know? So I actually got into the Lion King and I turned it down.
Man, speaking
Well,
of
it's
schools,
because let me
like,
explain. That
oh, my
sounds weird.
bad.
Yeah,
You
sorry.
No,
So
I'm sorry.
as soon as I got to New York, I was cast in a show. I got cast in Jesus Christ Superstar and went to Europe. Like boom, I was gone in less than a year. Like it was like boom, I was out there for almost a year, right? And it was cool because I got to see Europe and like have this great experience and perform every night, and like it was amazing. Like some of the people that I met on that tour really like their family, you know. So and when I got out there, like the Lion King was in Hamburg, and they were like, "We want you," and I was like, "I want to go home."
Oh, wow.
You know, I was like, "Sorry, I want to go home." They offered me the role of Shenzi, the hyena, and then they said after that contract is done that I would be Nala. I mean, it was a leading roles, and I still was like, I gotta go home because I'd been out there for a long time, and I knew that I had more in store for me, and I knew that I had to make music on my own terms. I'd already become kind of disenchanted with the theater world because of their limited view of Black presence on stage. And it was disappointing, right? So I always had believed that theater was this safe space and that was daring and adventurous and risk taking, and then realized that that's not the case at all. It's very safe, and the casting is very, very safe, and the stories that are told are also very safe. So it was a whole different view than I was expecting. Right. So, and Rent came out, and it was like, cool, I could play a lion or this like 19-year-old drug addict with HIV. So it was like, okay, at least, you know, at least they're leads, you know, whatever. Rent put me through the ringer. I never actually did the role. I actually lost the role to Scary Spice.
Wow.
It was between me and Melby. Yeah, it was between me and Melby. And I was like, I'm not doing this to myself anymore. I did something like 32 callbacks for Mimi. It was a lot. And I was like, now you're just wasting my time. Because like she was in one room and then I was in the next room.
That's crazy.
And I was like, there's no way that you're going to cast me when she's a fucking Spice Girl.
Yeah, wow, that's a trip. I had no idea she was even rocking theater these days, man.
She's not. She's not. It was just a stunt. She hated it, is what I heard. I never spoke to her about it, but it was like, that show's vocally demanding. And if you don't have the chops, you're going to be in pain, honey. Your chords are going to hurt.
Wow.
And I think she had that experience. But I was great. Like at 8 shows a week, oh my God, let's do it. Like my chords are like fucking steel. You know, singing rock music for how long, you know?
That's right.
Yeah, it was like no brainer. But yeah, I turned down the show because I wanted to go home, and I was sick of like, you know, Superstar is a great show. However, if you're a Black female, you're automatically singing in a group of 3 girls, right? So it's not just Superstar, it's Dreamgirls, it's Little Shop of Horrors, it's like all these like. It's like, if you love theater and you want to be in theater, you have to adjust to being in this corral, right? This like girl group that they're comfortable with. It's always like the Supremes. Like that's a group that people recognize and identify, and they use it over and over and over again. And I'm so tired of it. Yeah. So like I said, like when I did Rock of Ages, somebody asked me like, so why don't you do like XYZ show? And I said, if it involves singing in a group of 3 Black girls, I'm not into it.
Thank you. It's their way of stereotyping and being safe, like you said, you know? It's just like, oh, we got this model. Let's put these Black women, they're all like basically this, like you're saying, the Supremes and stuff. And it's interesting, man. Like, something I'd read about you that was interesting too. What was the controversy? I gotta just hear this from you, of you directing the talk about safe, directing the Amiri Baraka play, The Dutchman. Oh boy, I gotta hear this.
Yeah,
I know about that play.
Yeah, so dig it. That put me on the shit list. That got my name at the top of the shit list at Boston Conservatory. I was pulled out of class one day by the assistant chair to the theater department. And he said, "What are you doing?" And I was like, "What are you doing?" And he was like, "Are you happy here?" I was like, yeah, until now. Like, what is going on? And he was like, why did you pick the Dutchman? And,
Hmm.
and so for those that don't know, the Dutchman is like a highly controversial, racially charged piece that Amiri Baraka wrote in the 70s. And I directed it as a directing project when I was at Music Conservatory in college. And they saw it as a threat. They saw it as, he said, this is the exact question that he asked me. He said, why did you bring this element into our school?
Wow.
And I said, what
They never-
element are you referring to? And he was like, you know, the Dutchman. Why are you doing the Dutchman? And I was like, because the work spoke to me and I want to direct it. I feel like other people should experience it. And he's like, well, why did you bring this element into our school? Like, why couldn't you do a nice dinner table comedy? That was verbatim. That's exactly what he said. And I was like, well, you know, I found the play in the school library, so you guys brought this element into your school. This element was here before me.
Wow.
And that was the end
Yeah,
of the conversation.
I think it's interesting how they always want to ignore certain things that are reality when it comes to especially the issue that that's speaking on, and just that conversation. Like, what, I don't want to get overtly like, you know, I don't want to veer off the subject, but it's kind of on the subject, kind of how they're trying to ban our history in schools and stuff and our experience, just to pretend like everything was cool. No, those conversations needed to be had it like, had like that. But I thought it was interesting that, like, when I read that, I'm like, wow, dude, like, this guy, it just shows you how much a lot of this stuff even goes on in those environments, the educational environments, you know, like, and the fact that you were like, hey, there's stories that need to be told if you really believe in healing. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
That makes sense.
They were just, they were not happy about it, but then didn't want to tell me that I couldn't do it. Right? There was no reason to say that I couldn't do it.
Yeah.
But obviously he was attempting to intimidate me to make me feel like I couldn't do it. Right? And I was like, I've touched a nerve. Okay. I'm doing my damn show and it's going to be fucking great. And I'm going to get a grade. I mean, it was for a grade. Right? But don't tell me to pick work that speaks to me and then say, no, you can't do that, or why don't you change it?
Didn't they tell you? Did they say one of your teachers, like, they threatened one of your instructors to not grade it or something like that?
Yeah.
That's so crazy.
That was another piece. That was the next piece that I did that happened. Yeah. Yeah.
Man, militia.
That's a whole other story. That's a whole other story. But yeah, but I'm used to, like, growing up, I was always kind of used to institutions pointing fingers at me and, like, not understanding fully why at the time, but then in hindsight I go, oh yeah, of course they hated me or didn't support me or wanted to limit me or whatever, because I went to very rigid private schools my whole life, right? I was a Catholic school girl.
Wow.
Right? I know, not even fucking Catholic. So, but the thing is that Catholic school rules the roost in Baltimore. Like, that was the thing. If you wanted to go to a good school in Baltimore, most likely 9 times out of 10, it was Catholic. You know, those were the ones that had the high test scores, better education, you know, people got into good colleges. Like, that was the whole thing. Did you ever see that documentary, The Keepers?
Nah. What is that?
The Keepers is a docuseries that was on Netflix. And it was an expose of a murder that happened that was linked to a Catholic school in Baltimore.
Wow. Yikes.
That was my high school.
Oh, that's crazy.
Right.
Yikes.
So, yeah. And I remember being there and getting like a note in my locker that was like, by the way, you're going to see some like unsavory things said about the school on tonight's news. And it has to do with this. And they were talking about a girl that had been raped at the school by a person of the cloth. And
That's not
she
cool.
had like a repressed memory of it that revealed itself over time. And she came forward to call them out on it. And there was nothing they could do to stop her. So it was like they tried to get ahead of it by being like, okay, this is happening tonight. Like the news is going to break tonight. But like, not to ruin the story if you're going to watch the docuseries, but this woman that came forward, it turned out she was one of many students at my school that were sexually abused by people of the cloth. And then they
Oh,
covered it up. And then I guess the girls told a nun that worked there. She actually taught drama. Um, and she mysteriously ended up murdered.
my goodness. That's not cool.
It
That
was
is
like
not
some
cool.
some like Catholic gangster shit.
Oh, that's
Or some
so evil.
gangsterism. But yeah, it was that whole thing was like very present. It was a constant thing every day where you'd be like, oh yeah, like so and so, yeah, father or brother person is like fucking with my peer. Or like, oh yeah, my friend Fred, yeah, he gets molested by his priest, like, and he does a lot of drugs to numb himself. Like that
What a
was really normalized at my school. Like it was like, oh yeah, and then so and so she's fooling around with the English teacher, or she's fooling around with like it was normalized. It was so weird what you get used to, right?
That's crazy.
that
So when
is crazy.
the,
That's not
so when the
cool.
docu series came out, the archdiocese was like, nothing to see here, and they bulldozed my school.
What?
Yeah,
Wait, rewind. They did what? They
they
actually
bulldozed
bulldozed your
it
school?
to the ground. They leveled it. Mm-hmm. Because of embarrassment. People were showing up there who were like true crime and Netflix fans and like all this kind of thing. They were showing up the school to take pictures and like whatever. And so they were like, "Oh, fuck this! No, no, no." I mean, the attendance had dropped so much. They were like gone. Just wipe it out, kill it with bulldozers. They were just like, "Fuck it."
Not good.
And then I
Dang,
was
that's
like,
that's, that's ill.
"Does this still look good on my resume?"
Wow, that's heavy,
Well,
man.
it sure gives you a lot to talk about as an artist and to express yourself through art. You've been through a lot prior to you even becoming that metal chick that we know you for.
Yeah.
At least I know you for it, because I'm learning a lot about you that I did not know, and I'm loving it because it tells why you sing the way, all the emotion you have in your voice and the stories you tell. You've lived a lot of life and you've been through a lot and you share a lot of that. I want to fast forward to Bitch Night at Don Hill's.
Oh,
Oh my God. I wish you were there.
I
It was
wish.
wild. You would have loved it. You really would have. You would have loved it. I mean, it was just like such a scene. That's the rock scene that I had, you
Mm,
know. Yeah, America's trauma is only healed through storytellers. You got that right.
yeah.
Um, yeah, Bitch was like this like raging epic party. It was a real New York party.
Mm.
It doesn't get a lot of love, and it should. Hell yeah, Bitch Night was the best. What's up, Hangman? Yeah, Bitch Night was the best. Like girl singers. Well, I should give it up to Steve Blush. He's a very accomplished writer about the rock and punk scene in New York. He put this
American
night together.
hardcore.
That's right. And he put this night together called Bitch. And Don Hill was like, that was like my champion. He gave us this home, and it was every Wednesday night, and then it went to a monthly, where like we would get up and just sing our fucking faces off for hours, and like you would pick like a metal song or a rock song, and then you just go up there with the house band and you just fucking sing your fucking guts out to like win the room, just like win the love and win the adoration and make a name for yourself in the rock scene. So like you got to learn from other girls and then you also got to develop as an artist, which I feel like that's missing a lot from music now. There's no place to develop. Everyone wants to come out of the gate like they're perfect, or that they can write songs like boom. And it's like, no, you actually need to develop. Like that was our testing ground. And so many of the girls there went on to do really cool shit. And, you know, it was another family situation. We all have a lot of love for each other. And like, even though we were competitive with each other because we all wanted to outdo each other, we still loved each other and supported each other a lot, you know? And there was so many performances that were just like, I mean, I can still see them in my mind. Like, fuck, that was the most rock and roll performance ever out of this person, or whatever. Or the band sounded great, or, you know, it was epic. It was really epic. I wish you were there.
I wish too. Hearing that. And how did you way over to connect with all the Black rock musicians, like the whole Black Rock Coalition scene?
Yeah. It started like out of Bitch, really, because Bitch was like the first time I got to perform on stage as a solo artist, was at Bitch Night, right? And that's where I met Maya, Mother Goddess. That's where I met Felicia Collins, who was in the Paul Schaefer band. That's where I met Honey Child. I think we met at Bitch, right? I'm pretty sure.
Shout out to Honey Child.
Yeah.
She's awesome.
I remember calling my fucking mother. My mother had told me, like, rock and roll is not for you. Stay away. Like, heavy metal is definitely not for you. Stay away. And I called her and I was like, fucking A, Ma, there's fucking Black people here. There are Black rockers in here. And everybody's fucking badass and great. And, like, I'm not the only one. You know, so like my mind was blown. Like I was like, wow, there's others just like me that love this shit, like, you know, and are doing it and like singing their fucking guts out and playing their guts out and like having a great time and looking good doing it, you know. And that's where I got the idea to do Anarchists of Color. So Anarchists of Color was a show I put together of all like the most badass Black people I knew that were doing this shit. It was basically kind of like a see ma, look. That was the whole reason behind it, was to be like, all these people love it too. Like, I'm not the freak. And Anarchists of Color was dope because like a lot of people from that group went on to do like amazing shit too. Like our drummer was Frank Ferrer. He's in Guns N' Roses now.
Right on.
Like it was nuclear. Yeah, Portia was playing guitar. She played with Khalees. Felicia Collins was in that band too. Kiki Collins, who sings with Nona Hendrix, was in that band. I mean, it was amazing. And we did a couple shows with it, and then after a while I was like, I can't afford to produce this anymore. Like, it's so fucking expensive. Yeah, it was just like, I don't know, we better get a grant or something because like my bank account is empty. But I was putting all my money into it for the love. And that's when I think Honey Child said, oh, you need to link up with the Black Rock Coalition. I'm pretty sure it was Honey Child that suggested that, or Maya, or it came out of some kind of conversation like that. And I was like, well, fuck, I would love to do that. But then I also felt like, do I have enough credentials to even be part of it? Like, I wasn't sure at the time. And then when they did reach out to me finally, I was like, what took you so long? Been here. And so I was already like in a band. Like I had my own band, Swear on Your Life, was kicking ass around New York and like vicinity. But it was weird too because at the time, other than Living Color, there was no other like aggressive rock bands in the Black Rock Coalition. So when they would do events and stuff, they were mostly like soul R&B slanted, you know. So I'd be like, wait a minute, this is supposed to be the fucking Black Rock Coalition. Like, what is going on here? You guys are doing like Curtis Mayfield. Not that there's a problem with doing a Curtis Mayfield retrospective, but we came here to like do this, and now we're doing like something else. And so I've helped to like do events with them and try to create a wider scope of what that is. And we've done some things, and it's been cool. But that's where I met Corey Glover, was through Black Rock Coalition and Vernon and everybody. And I appreciate the mission, but I feel like, you know, they gotta step. I hate to say that term. I'm not gonna say that term. I wish they would do more for heavy rock music artists. But I'm also incredibly biased, so there's that.
Which reminds me, I have to piggyback on that. It's funny, like, it's so cool to see, and this is one of the reasons I bought Samantha on, because, like, you guys kind of have this thing that is playing a little edgier than what people consider black women to be playing today. Yeah. One of the questions that I was asking, especially when my friend Vipe Black, or Annabella Black, talks about being typecasted, and you hear just people like Jada Pinkett Smith and Stormy Maya, and even Laina Dawes talks about, who I know she has you in her book. As far as being a black female, would you say, especially within metal, specifically metal, I mean, Frida Rente is like another earlier pioneer of like just black women in metal who doesn't get as much shine, who should. If you don't know about her, check her out. But do you feel like the metal scene has been receptive to you, or do you feel like you've had to navigate through that? Like, I've listened to Stormy talk about how she's being received, or even Jada Pinkett, and stories about that, you know, and or just my friend Vipe, Annabella, talking about how, like, even on the other side of it, you know, she was expected to just sing R&B because she's done that, but she has her own band, Viper Black, you know. How have you been received by the general metal scene, especially being a black woman and just navigating through that with all the stories that I hear from these ladies, you know? I'm just curious, if you don't mind me asking that.
No, not at all. I mean, I get asked that often, you know. I mean, I just navigate it by, like, I just do it because it's for me. It's for no one else, really. So it's like I choose to be part of it because I want to be part of it. And that's what I like. Like I said, like, comes down to like what gets me off, and like I love heavy music, and that excites me.
Do you feel like people have given you backlash, like the, you know, Laina Dawes book, What Are You Doing Here? Or how could you be like what you are, as far as like just, I mean, you know, I mean, just a little bit on me, I'm really into like a lot of different stuff myself, but and just being into like a lot of extreme metal as well as grindcore, all that stuff, and noise and all that. But I'm always curious, especially like what black women, you know, I can only imagine some of the stuff that I've been through, being a, you know, I was a punk rocker, and I'm still one, into metal and progressive rock and all that, coming up as a kid and even as an older adult. But just being a black woman, especially like just navigating through that, you know, like as far as like just the people kind of like, it's funny, I always laugh at when I hear just people talking against not just women, but especially black women, as if like they don't belong, when you have people like Rosetta Tharpe that kind of laid the foundations for that, and people like both of you guys, you know Betty Davis, and people like Frida Rente. I'm just curious, like, just if you've ever gotten any backlash, or even if you didn't, that's so cool, but like just curious, like with that, have you gotten any of that stuff from people that are just, how dare this woman, this black woman, be in our scene, or who is she, or, you know, like, is she real? Because I've heard, I mean, I've listened to Stormy, I've listened to even Jada talk about it. I'm just curious, if you don't mind. I'm sorry, I don't mean to be long-winded, but
no, not at all. I get it. Well, it's an authenticity to a lot of people in the metal scene. In the metal scene, being authentic is everything, right? So when people assume that you're in it for non-authentic means, then that's where I see them getting backlash. I've never had a direct to my face backlash. I've never had anyone say anything to me like, oh, you shouldn't be doing this, except for my own mother, who was black. yeah, no one's said anything like that. I think it's always been like, because there's no arguing with my real love for the genre. There's no arguing with it. So it's like, you know, try to say that I don't belong. Like, it's like, belong where? Then we don't hang out and you don't have to come to my show.
Exactly.
You know, like,
Yep.
that's fine. No one's ever said like, oh, this isn't for you, other than my mom. No one's ever said like, oh, you don't belong or whatever, because anyone who shows up belongs, in my opinion, you know?
I heard that.
Yeah, so it's like, you know, it's already niche enough. Why exclude anyone at this point, you know? And I feel like, especially nowadays, when like the mainstream music is so dominating, and like I find mainstream music so oppressive, it's like, oh, we kind of need each other more than ever. So if anyone's showing up and wants to be there, like, fucking A, yeah. Like, there should be a community that embraces them fully, no matter
That's
what they
awesome.
look like. Yeah. So, and that's the weird thing that people might say to me is like, oh, how do you, I get asked a lot, how do you navigate rock and metal as a Black female? And I'm just kind of like, I just do. Like, as a person, I just do. I get asked about it a lot. I know like other Black musicians, male and female. It's interesting. I feel like the girls get asked more often, how do you navigate this, than the boys. Because the boys that I've talked to, they go, oh, no one asked me that at all. It's pretty amazing. Like, some of my friends that are in very well-known bands, we'll say, high-profile bands, and they have Black musicians or members in that band. It's almost like they won't speak about it in public, but they can't wait to talk to me about it. They're like, oh, Militia, did you hear about Punk Black in Atlanta? I'm just like, yes. You know, stuff like that, where they feel like they can't say anything or else they'll lose their mass appeal. So they don't make an issue.
I always feel, especially, this is why I started this, and I might be called a militant for it, but this is a tradition that has been started by Black people to begin with, and any form of it still has its roots in that. And so when anyone, you know, I'd get it back in the day more, like, why are you listening to this white people's music and all that? Or on the other side, some people would kind of trip out. For me, it's all about like I know the roots of the music, and my parents, they were cool because, you know, they had rock records, you know, like your dad and stuff, you know, like they had all this stuff around me. So I got into like even the more extreme stuff on my own. But my father, once he found out that I was into Hendrix and all that, we were talking about like the Isley Brothers, early Funkadelic, you know, he liked Iron Butterfly. He was in a cover band that had that, you know, so like I'm into like all that 60s and 70s, like psych rock. Even if you look, why I even started doing this is because I wanted to put our people in light that have been doing it, that never get props, and also highlight those like yourself and Samantha that have been doing this for decades and still doing it. And I think for me, it's never a connect. I mean, it's never a disconnect at all. And so I don't understand why some cats are afraid to even talk about that. Yeah, I will talk about it.
Because it's marketing.
Man,
there's music, there's music, the people that make music, and then there's the music business.
Exactly.
Right? So those are different things. There's people that get into the music business to shine a light on what they want to see. And sometimes that's not always the people that deserve the spotlight. I'll say that, sure. Right?
Wow.
It'll be the thing that is like, that has mass appeal and has like mass market potential and can make them money.
Yeah.
It's a business. Some of the most talented people I know quit the business.
Wow.
Because they couldn't be marketed.
Yeah.
Right? Because like Samantha and myself, like we have like DIY hearts, you know, so like we're able to survive the scene without falling apart, because that's the dedication, right? But imagine what would happen if you had like the machine behind you, you know? Like for example, like some of my work was up for Grammy consideration this year. The nominations came out today, and who gets nominated? Metallica, Disturbed, Spirit Box, which was like that's the only underdog that was in the category. Oh, and Ghost, and it's like
Huh.
that's business as usual. Those are the bands that have the machine behind them.
Yeah.
You know, they have a lot of people working to make sure that their band or artist gets what they can do to market them more. Once you put that G word, Grammy nominated or Grammy award winning artist, your checks get bigger,
Wow.
you know, and everybody knows that. So it's like, okay, well, there's a lot of people working to help raise the flag of that artist, right? But when you're DIY, you have to raise your own fucking flag. You have to make the flag. You have to fucking figure out a flagpole. You have to figure out the pulley system that you're going to use, and you have to raise the flag all by yourself. You know,
really
so
don't worry about the machine too much because you're just authentic in what you do.
hey, I've never worried about the machine because they never worried about me.
Exactly.
So I was like, okay, well, I'm going to do this out of pure love, and I'm going to raise my flag, and hopefully people that understand it see it, and they'll come look. You know, that's what I do. Which is cool. Like, the Wasteland scene has embraced me, like, in a beautiful way. Like, I highly recommend anyone who's wants a very unusual experience, try out Wasteland because it's like pretty phenomenal. It's this post-apocalyptic festival in Mojave Desert, and I play every year, and it's literally my happy place because my music makes so much sense there. But yeah, that's what you have to do. You have to find like the tribes of people that get what you're doing, right? They see you, they get what you're doing. So I've always kind of like stuck to that because I mean, most of the fucked up moments I've had in my career is from industry people trying to either control what I'm doing in some weird way, or market me in some weird way that I wasn't happy with, or they were trying to make me sing songs that I didn't want to sing, or it was like they had some weird idea of me that they wanted to put in this box, and I was always like, I don't like that box, so I'm out and I don't need you because I'm self-sufficient.
Exactly.
Right? So I guess like in the industry, it's like, it's not that I've had like issues with like directly racism, like racist things, but it's been like, oh, well, like I had the head of like a major label come see me sing, and he said, wow, you're like a reverse Eminem.
What the hell? Are you serious?
That's the weirdest thing anyone's ever said to me. And he was like, yeah, because Eminem's white and he does hip hop and rap music, and you're black and you do rock music. And I was like, that's the most narrow-minded,
ignorant.
Yeah, like that's the most narrow-minded thing I've ever heard. And I'm talking major label, okay? And he goes, it'll be interesting to see what happens with you. And I was like, I'm not a science experiment, but thank you. I don't know. See you on the dark side of the moon. You know, so like, it's always been some weird thing where like they're confused as to like who, what, where, why would you want to do this? Yeah. And actually one industry person that was a big champion of mine, we could have done some shit, but it became like a Me Too situation.
Oh no.
So he ruined it. It happens more often than I care to say. I would say I have more issues with Me Too moments than with racist moments. The Me Too moments are here and the racist moments are here. Like it's that's my issue.
Sorry about that.
I never get like the thing where it's like, oh yeah, like we're gonna offer you this record deal, because I've been offered record deals before, but it was always like contingent on like, oh yeah, meet me in my hotel room, we'll talk about it.
Oh Lord.
Or like, oh yeah, or like, you know, like obviously, I had somebody say to me, yeah, I could introduce you to the label heads there. You know, because I'm trying to get laid.
Wow, damn.
Right. I mean, like, you know, very direct.
No.
And like, I can proudly say, like, I never sucked anyone's dick to get to where I am. So pat on the back to me.
Yeah.
Not saying that there's something wrong with that if you choose to do that. You know, I don't call out people in that way, and I don't, like, you know, shame anyone who uses their sex to get what they want. Good for them. It's just not for me.
Yeah.
You know? So when it comes to Wicked Wisdom, I think the issue is that people didn't buy it because they never saw her do it before, and it came off as being inauthentic because people looked at Jada as an actor.
Yeah.
So when she stepped forward to do metal, they were like, "Oh, you're just acting."
I just
Wow.
And also it
think
was
that
like, "Oh, it's a Hollywood moment. Like, we don't care."
I'll be honest. I really think that she, you know, just wanted to do something that she was into. Even if certain cats like it, just because she could do it, and you know, I mean, especially just being a black woman playing heavy music. I really don't think that she was clout chasing. In my opinion, I just think it was something that she always wanted to do and did it.
Sure.
You know, I can't speak for
100%.
her. You know, I'm not like her,
Well,
but
obviously,
that's
because
just
why else would she do it? You know,
Yeah.
it's like, obviously it was something that she wanted badly and she was going to go for it. So funny. I got so many phone calls from people that were like, dude, Jada's on like the Tonight Show or something, and she's like doing you. And I was like, she's not doing me, she's doing something else. Like, there doesn't have to be one. You know what I mean? Like,
I
she's
know,
doing
like they
her
always
thing.
like, oh, you look like
Yeah.
that, dude. No, I
I got
don't.
so much of that. Yeah, I got so much of that. It was crazy. But yeah, Wicked Wisdom was important because, you know, they did their thing. They were trying to do it on their terms. And like, just like bands that don't have famous people in them, it either catches on or it doesn't.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
it's like, it didn't really catch.
Yeah.
And you know what? She was like, fuck this. I want my red carpet life back. She was like,
I,
fuck this, like riding around in a fucking tour bus and like, you know, grinding. She's like, I don't need to do that. I'm fucking rich.
I understood what you mean though, because of like the perception of just what people think because of her, you know, her career being an actress. I totally got what you meant, you know, like I wasn't going against what you were saying. I was just like, even if she did like, you know, mean to you know, do that out of her thing. But yeah, unfortunately you got, and and I'll be honest, it's even more so her being black, because some of that stuff, it's like we're still traditionally not thought of as playing this kind of music. Dude,
Yeah, but
I
you
love
can't
playing
like,
stuff.
sure, but you can't get hung up on that.
Yeah.
All you can do is lead
Oh,
by
I'm not.
example. I
Yep.
mean, that's what I do.
I have stuff like that I'm involved in that are extreme type stuff. I have stuff that's more pop oriented too. So no, I'm totally not hung up in it. It's just interesting that as a person that studies the history of us playing this stuff, I notice that there are certain threads, and it's like, wow, you know. And it's one of the reasons I'm an advocate for any of us out there. It's like, hey, this is us. We're going to do it no matter what anybody thinks. You're one of those examples. Sam's an example. People like Nicole Colley, like my friends like Annabella, Frida Rente, all these cats, like, you guys are all awesome, dude. Like, and that's why I'm so glad that, you know, we're doing that.
Aw, thanks. Oh, hey, Will. Oh my God, DJ Metal Will is in the house. Love you,
I think
brother.
Chaka Malik is out here too. I thought I saw Ghost Decibels. What's
Oh,
up?
cool. Yeah,
Chaka from
yeah.
Burns.
Oh,
Nine.
so dig this though. Like, yeah, Wicked Wisdom. I mean, it's for any band. Like, it's like I said, it either catches or it doesn't. And just because there's a celebrity in the band doesn't mean it's gonna catch.
That's
And
true. Yep.
And this,
also, like I said, she got tired of it.
yeah, and this life is not made for the weak at
Right.
heart.
Nope.
You got in order to stick through it. It can't just be trying it out to see what happens. Either you there
Well, you can.
well, yeah.
Anyone can
Yeah.
now. Stormy Maya. I think Stormy Maya, I've had a brief conversation with her. Because people have been making comparisons, of course. And between us. I mean,
Yeah.
and I think the issue is she's getting a lot of anger direct towards her because she comes out very strong. She's got a very sexualized persona that she uses to her advantage, and fuck it, she should, because she's beautiful. But I think people are getting caught up that she does use her physical assets to get attention on social media, and for that reason they're like fucking giving her a hard time. But she also addresses everything individually on social media
Yep.
too. So it's like, I mean, I personally don't respond to haters in that way. Like, I would never post somebody's like hate comment and respond to it and make that a post. But the fact that she does it, like, people love it. Clearly they love the drama. I just like am so disinterested in that kind of drama that I'm just like, I'm here for the music, so I wouldn't focus on people's fly by night negative comments. Like, who cares? Like, if you're in it for the right reasons and you really love the music, don't even waste your energy talking to someone who says you can't do it.
Yeah.
You know? So, but that's not her personality. She loves the drama, clearly. And like I said, that's not my bag.
I hear you. I hear you on that.
Yeah.
Man, speaking of, I have to ask, how was it working with Robert Halford, especially being in Judas Priestess? And I love, like, especially like 70s Judas Priest, Hell Bent for Leather, Sad Wings, all that stuff, you know? Like, dude, how on earth did that come together? I know, but I want to hear it from you, like, just the project, but also you toured with them, and also just, both of you guys are four-range vocalists. Am I correct?
Yes, that's right.
How did that come? Freaking, like, dude, tell us the story. I'm sorry, I'm like, I can't even get myself together.
Great. So, like, I always knew I would do something with him. I always knew it was going to be something. I assumed it was going to be a Priest thing. And the fact that it ended up being an original song and like a full duet was like better. To me, it was better than being a Priest thing. Not that I would turn a Priest thing down. But it was just like, it was like, yeah, like, this is, of course this is happening. Like, it was supposed to happen.
Yeah.
I mean, Priestess has been a roller coaster ride, to say the least. And like, we didn't even think we would be doing it that long, but like the fucking fans won't let it die. They just won't let it die. It's amazing. Like, the audiences get bigger and we're just like, who are these people? It's so awesome. So like, we play the Stone Pony every year, and every year it's like sold out. It's just a huge thing. And I'm like, obviously that's a huge testament to Priest and their music. But the fact that they come to see us do it, you know, we're like the delivery system, you know, it's like they get their fix, plus they get it through this like female lens. It has this extra level to it, you know. And it's so fun. Like, Priestess shows are so fun. I highly recommend you guys come to a Priestess show.
If you ever come to LA, let a brother know. I will be there if y'all come to
LA. Sure, we played the Whiskey. And we played the Viper Room. Yeah. But I'm sure we'll do it again at some point. But yeah, so this is so fucked up. I was like, I had COVID. It was like, what? Like a year ago? It was a year ago. No, 2 years ago. I had COVID, and I was in the fucking, like, clinic waiting for my test results. And I had been so sick. Like, I was shredded. My lungs felt like Swiss cheese, and I was like sitting there playing like, please let it be over. Like, just let me test negative so I can go on with my life, and stop living the way I was living. You know, it was like having to like run past my elderly neighbors and like, you know, be like super protective and like wiping down everything I touched. Like, I felt like I was supposed to be in a bubble or something. So I went to the clinic and I was waiting on my test results, and as I'm scrolling through my phone, I see in my email, duet with Rob Halford, ? And I was like, my initial reaction was one of pure anger. It was just pure anger. I was like, who the fuck is this? Like, I was so like, how dare you fuck with me on a day like today where I've been like ruined, and I'm here like trying to get my life back together by getting a negative COVID test result, and this person is clearly fucking with me, right? So it's just like, who is this asshole? Because I've had people approach me that was like, hey, it'd be cool if you sang on this thing and maybe we'll take it to Rob Halford's people. And I'm like, oh, fuck out of here. Like, I can't. So anyway, I thought it was that, right? And I was like, who is this asshole? And I'm reading the email, and it's like, oh yeah, like, would love to do this with you. Duet with Rob Halford, see attached, MP3. And I was like, oh great. I was gonna listen to this shit demo, you know, with probably some shit vocals on it, you know, just like, I didn't know what it was gonna be. So like, I put my headphones in, and I'm like, the music starts, and I'm like, oh, production's nice, okay. I was like, oh, it's interesting. It's like dark, heavy, sexy, and then there's Rob's voice, and I was like, oh snap.
That's awesome. That's rad.
I was like, fucking A. And I'm like, they probably got me like set up as like the hook girl, you know? I was like, it's probably gonna be some bullshit. And then it gets to the second verse, and there's space for a vocal. And I was like, oh fuck, that's a full verse. And I was like, oh, we get to like the end part, and it's like Halford singing every other line. And I was like, this
awesome.
is a proper duet.
Yeah.
This is a duet, like legit duet. It's not a feature, it's like a duet. Even.
Too powerful.
And I was like, oh my God, I can't believe this is happening. And then right at that moment, the nurse came out. She goes, you're negative. And I was like, fuck it, it's the best thing of my life.
Oh, yeah.
It was unreal. I was like, goddamn, skipping down the street in my Doc Martens. And like, I called my dude, and I was like, babe, this motherfucker wants me to sing a duet with Rob Halford. I hope this is real. This better be fucking real, because I feel extremely fucked with right now. And he was like, oh, be careful, you don't know who that is, you know, like, he's just like, we're so jaded, be careful. And I'm just like, yeah. He was like, well, don't seem too anxious or excited. I was like, you're right. So I messaged him back. I'm like, oh yeah, that sounds cool. Like, when do you want to do this? And he was like, next week. And I was like, shit, because my voice was still like not 100%. And I was like, that's like the worst timing, but you can't say no. You can't say wait for me. You can't say, you know, I was already paranoid that I was going to lose it anyway, you know? So I was like, oh fuck, I have to like get my shit together. I had to get my voice together to be prepared for a long, heavy track day, you know, because I was like, I have to give them everything. So I think that was like a Friday, and we recorded it on Wednesday.
Wow.
Yeah. And like, it was crazy. And they're like, oh yeah, Tony Bruno's producing it. They're like, do you know him? I was like, sure. This is Rihanna's music director. I'm just like, heard of him.
Wow.
He was in Joan Jett and the Blackhearts, no big deal. And I was like, yeah, I heard of him. You know?
So cool.
And, yeah, and it was like
epic.
Yeah, and it was like, when I got to the studio, I was just so fixated on giving them everything they needed so they didn't have to find anyone else, right? I was still paranoid that I was going to lose it, you know? I was paranoid I was going to lose it until the day it came out, right? Because I was like, why would they ask me when they could ask Amy Lee?
Wow.
Why ask me if you can ask Lizzie Hale, right? That was my immediate thought process.
Man.
I was like, what if I'm the demo girl that they used to give to Amy Lee or Lizzie? That's what I thought.
You've shown yourself, though. They knew what they had by you even doing those pre-songs, let alone your other work. I'm sure they heard that. Dude, you got, man.
Yeah, but it was like, when something seems too good to be true, you know, it's I think it's like fucked up or a lie, but that's how the
Yeah.
industry is. Like you can't get like too excited until like the
It's
thing is happening,
actually
Yeah.
happening.
right?
Yep. That's true.
Anything can change and you have to roll with it. So like when I went into the studio, I was just like, how do you want this? I was like, I can sing it aggressive, I can sing it gently, I can sing it sexy, I can sing it more feminine, I can give you a mix of everything. And like they took the mix of everything, you know. But like I would have really liked to hear like the aggressive vocal. Like I wish people could have heard like the aggressive vocal, because Halford did a really straight tone performance, you know, his was very straight. So like I think they thought the aggressive vocal wasn't commercial enough, you know? So I was like, okay, fair, you know, so fine. But my aggressive vocal was so dope. I was like, can I have the aggressive vocal, like
So
just for my record?
cool.
But yeah, and then they were like amped to drop the single like immediately. And I was like, don't do that. Like, wait a moment. Because we were in the time period for the Grammys. So like we had to go through the whole politics of that too, even though we didn't get a nomination, but we were in the running. So we were politicking for it, and like Halford and I shot a video
Wow.
backstage at a pre-show where we were like, "Vote for us!" You know, it was
So
like really
cool,
funny to
man.
be standing there being like, "Hey, vote for us!" You know, we're doing a for your consideration video. You know,
Man.
so it was wild. But he's so cool, man. He is so cool. You know, he's given me so much love and support, and like, you know, and he doesn't have to. You know, he really doesn't. He's has an amazing career, you know, and to be acknowledged by him and given like love and respect and like props and like all this shit he wrote about me in his book,
That's so
you know, it's
cool.
like it was a shock, and they were like, you know, you're on page da da da. And I was like, what?
That's rad.
So like that was pretty
That's
cool.
so rad.
Yeah, and I'm just like, I wish like I don't know, I wish that uh I mean, they finally got their love for rock and roll. You know, they're in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame.
Yeah.
But I still feel like modern, like younger audiences don't realize how epically amazing Rob Halford is as an individual, and like what an artist he is, and how he's created like this whole. I mean, that is the Leather Studs persona. Like we
Yep.
owe it all to him. Like he was the first one to introduce that leather studded look. I mean, he's not just a vocal icon, he's a fashion icon.
Yep.
And he's an architect of this genre. It's like, it's pretty mind blowing shit, you know, but people are just kind of like, I don't know. I feel like the logo gets used a lot in weird ways, you know, like the artwork, the imagery. That's the case with most metal bands, you know, their artwork gets
Oh,
co-opted into something else. And then younger generations don't realize where that came from, which is so weird.
Yeah.
Or like their t-shirt gets co-opted, you know, their
yeah.
visual. So weird to me.
I
I'm like,
always,
why would you take, I don't know, it's like you're wearing a billboard for something you don't know what it
yeah.
is. It's kind of weird how that's like okay these days, or I don't know, whatever. Wear what you want, but at least know what you're wearing.
Yeah.
Like, would you roll up at something with like some like white power shit on your
Exactly.
shirt? Like, it's like imagery has meaning too. You know, it's
Yep.
not just words. So, but whatever. What the fuck do I know?
Man.
The Daughters of Betty, you're a part of,
Yeah.
and I also saw you in documentary of Betty Davis. They Say I'm Different. What was that like being a part?
Oh man, Betty, it's so weird. That documentary is great. However, our conversation was not great
Wow.
because I would like say it was very indie, and like I would say something, and it's New York. There'd be like a lot of like excess noise and stuff. I shot that interview in a rehearsal studio, so like there was like all this bleed of sound.
Yeah.
And so oftentimes they'd be like, that was great what you just said. Could you just say that again? In like the same kind of way. And it's like, well, no, like you either you got it or you didn't. So like a lot of the interview, it's me repeating what I've said. So when I look at it, I just go, it looks like I'm annoyed or it looks like I'm apathetic because I was annoyed that they didn't get it the first time. So it was like trying to remember what I said and all this and that. So I see that interview and I kind of go like cringe. But, you know, it was important that I talk about her. Something that they did leave out was the very first time that I even heard of Betty Davis was at a BRC event at BB King's in Times Square. And it was a fundraiser for Parliament Funkadelics bass player that had some medical issues, and we were trying to raise money to help pay these bills. And so I got to play with P-Funk and like all these cats that have been in P-Funk at some point. And like Corey did some of the events too. That's where I really connected with Corey for the first time, was at the P-Funk event. So Diaper Man, it was for him and his family. And someone came up to me after I did Alice in My Fantasies.
Love that song.
Yeah. Someone came up to me and said, "You know who you remind me of? Betty Davis." And I was like, "The actress?" And he was like, "Oh, no. Betty Davis, the funk singer." And I was like, "I don't know who that is. I gotta Google her." And so I went home and I Googled her and I was like, holy fucking shit, where have you been all my life?
Wow.
And I was like, I have to hear what you sound like. Yeah.
I like the same way.
Yeah.
That's crazy. He said it to me. I'm like, who is Betty Davis?
Yeah.
And I Googled her too.
Yeah. And so like they were making comparisons that like they were saying, oh, you kind of look like her, and you're kind of raunchy like her, and you're kind of like aggressive like her. And I was like, oh shit, so basically you're saying my shit is tired. You've seen it already. And they're like, no. But that part was left out of the docuseries because I think they didn't want me saying that people referring to me as being like her in that way, you know? So like that part was edited. But they did keep the part where I said I Googled her and I looked at her images, her pictures and everything, and I was just like, it was so striking. And then I go, how come this didn't work? Why am I just hearing about her now?
Yeah.
Like, I've been looking for this for a long time. How come I didn't find it? Even when I went looking, when I was trying to find other people, especially women, especially Black women, that are doing what I'm doing, and like, I wanted some kind of example other than Tina Turner, because that's easy, right? That's an easy person to point to, but I was like, there's got to be more. How is there not more? Yeah, and then like I find Betty, and then I was like kind of pissed off, like, wow, how did this lid stay on? Like, how come I don't know about this? How come, I don't know, she's not spoken about? And I was like, there's so much to this story, right? And when I heard that she was basically, like, I don't want to say in hiding, because she wasn't hiding from anything, but she basically had like cut herself off from the music business. I was like, I get it. Sure. Why is she gonna hang out there and be constantly misunderstood and not given a platform and not be able to grow in the way she wanted to grow? Not being given the tools, not having the machine back her up, you know, not being praised for being a groundbreaker and a trailblazer and all those things, and just like, you know, dismissed after she gave like really strong albums. So yeah, if you feel like you're not being listened to, you might leave. Okay, so fair. I mean, it happens all the time. Q Lazarus was the same thing. She left the industry for the same reason. She felt like she wasn't being seen. And it happens a lot with like women, I would say, in this business.
Marsha Hunt too, probably, you know, Marsha Hunt, dude, like.
Yeah. So
there's a guy who's married to Miles Davis.
What?
guy from the audience, like, she was married to Miles Davis for a second. Yeah, she was.
She was. Yeah, she was. She's responsible for his whole like career
Alleged.
rejuvenation, bitches
Yep.
brew, like
Yeah.
funky looks, like the whole style, the whole energy like was changed, and it was her influence for sure. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. Like I never met her. I think I pissed her off actually.
How?
Um because because during that interview, I recorded a message for her
Yeah.
through the filmmakers. There was very limited contact with her. It was like only through the filmmakers, right? She didn't do any direct contact with like most people. Um, and they were like, "Oh, is there anything you want to say to Betty?" And like, here's your chance, and we'll record a message and we'll get it over to her. And I was like, okay. I was like, yeah. And I was like, fucking A, Betty, like, you're a fucking legend. You're a queen. You deserve this spotlight shined on you now, and your story deserves to be told and for people to know who the fuck you are. And I was like, if you're like me, I'm like, I feel like we're kind of wild and like cut from a similar cloth. I believe you're the devil's child. You got the devil in you. And I sang Devil's Child by Priest to her.
Mm-hmm.
And I didn't realize that she had found Jesus.
Wow.
Oops.
I had no idea. So I don't think she liked that. Because I said to the filmmakers, "Oh, so what did Betty say about my message?" And they were kind of like, and I was like, "Okay." I was like, "Tell me nothing. I'll use my imagination."
Oh, wow.
And I was like, "Yeah." I was like, "She got pissed off at that devil's business, but whatever. It's on brand for me."
But that's what I love about you. You are true to yourself, whether you piss them off or not. What is next for you?
Oh, what's next? Oh, I'm creating a new immersive exhibition. Yay, I'm so excited to do this. Yeah, I can't say like a whole lot about it, but it's gonna go up next year. From time to time I do these like multimedia extravaganzas with music and visuals and all this kind of stuff. So I'm creating a new piece for next year. So that's a one. I have 2 albums in the can that need to finally see the light of day. So those are going to come out next year as well. I also have a new metal band that I've been working with for like since pandemic, really. And it kicks so much ass. It's like the music is like it's like proggy doom, right?
Ooh, I'd love to hear that. I'm
Yeah,
into a lot of that stuff.
yeah. And the songs are really like it's dark. And the music's really cool. Some of the most talented guys I've ever played with are in this band, and I'm really excited to be playing with them. I've known them since my Berkeley days. Like, I've known them since the '90s. They were in the pit orchestra for shows that I directed at school. I mean, it's like we
So
have
cool.
such a long history together, and now we're fucking playing together all these years later and writing these intense metal songs, and it's just like awesome. So I can't wait to release those songs, record them with the proper person, and release those hopefully next year. It's got to be next year because why wait? And yeah, trying to get through the holidays without like losing my mind and just performing, creating, writing. I'm going to be an author, which is like a new weird turn of events. Um, I'm a bit of a Poe fanatic. I don't know if you know this about me. I love Edgar Allan Poe. So like being from the Baltimore area, Poe is like, he's a saint in Baltimore, right? And in most places. I've been doing Poe events since I was 13. And like I was at this is so weird. I'm friends with the caretaker emeritus of the Poe estate in Baltimore. It's some
Oh,
crazy.
wow.
It's some super nerdy shit. This is when I get nerdy. It's like, okay, yeah, sure, why not? I'll go to the birthday party of the 213th birthday of a famed dead American author. Like, why not? Like, I went to his birthday party because I had the invite from the caretaker.
Wow.
Sure. And it
That's
was like three of
a
us.
trip.
So this woman who works for, she's a professor of Poe studies, asked me if I would write an essay about the enduring fascination of Edgar Allan Poe and how it applies to me making like dark and heavy music. Right.
I love it.
So I'm in the Poe Society of Baltimore. That's another like weird ism about me that I don't really talk about that often. I recorded The Raven, a narration of The Raven, and put it to music, original music, and that got me a Poe Visitor Award nomination at the International Edgar Allan Poe Festival.
Wow.
So this professor of Poe studies, international Poe studies, she travels the world teaching people about Edgar Allan Poe. She was like, "Oh, I heard you're Raven." She was like, "That's really cool. Will you write this thing?" And I was like, "Oh, fuck." I was like, "What's the word count on that?" And it was like, "Hi." I was like, "Okay, sure, I can do that." So while I was in Rock of Ages, after the show, I would come back to my room and write this Poe study, this Poe essay. And now it's like finally coming out next year on Mercer University Press.
Yes.
So we'll be doing some like a book tour.
Wow.
Yeah,
That's
to
rad, man.
like read parts of the essay that I wrote about Edgar Allan Poe and his influence on like
Love it.
my dark and weird music.
That is going to be.
That's really cool, man. I mean, it's especially to celebrate an author like that with the medium like that you're involved. I mean, you're involved with a bunch of mediums, but as far as like even like you being a musician and a composer yourself, and just kind of connecting all those arts together with that. That's interesting, man. That's really cool, you know.
Yeah, it all ties together. All these seemingly separate things all kind of tie together. When before I'd always like make myself crazy trying to forcibly tie them together. And then now it's just like they just have come together in a very like a way that makes sense.
Yeah.
And before it didn't necessarily make sense, and I always thought, oh, I have to keep all these avenues separate. I think people are more accepting too that when you're an artist, it's like you do more than one thing, where before it was like you only did one thing, or at least that was the marketing of most artists, is that you only have to be known for this one thing and then you can branch out later if they let you.
Yeah.
And it's kind of like, well, I don't have the machine behind my back. I don't have that kind of narrow marketing. I don't have that kind of I don't have it. I don't have to do it. I don't have to answer to anyone.
Exactly.
That's good. That's
So that's
really
why I'm able to get away with shit. And I also have like, I guess maybe creative ADD. So it's like, oh, that's shiny. I'll do that. Yeah,
that's so cool.
That's good. But it's all because of the fire in my belly.
Yes.
Oh, hi, Brittany. Brittany Page.
Awesome.
Right
Yeah.
on.
Any audience members have any questions? Just curious. I mean, this has been really cool. I really appreciate you coming out. Sorry, I'm all nerding out, but yeah.
Oh, it's all good. Yeah. Hell yeah. Thank you for inviting me. Thank you for having me. I appreciate that, like, anyone takes the time out to talk about, I don't know, the things that I do or find interesting. It's like, that's like, thank you. I appreciate that. And thank you guys for like tuning in and watching and listening.
Yeah, man, this has been real cool. I have to ask you this, and I should have asked this before. Who are your favorite artists? I mean, like, I'm sure there's a gang of them, but like who, I don't care, across genres, whatever, like I should have did that before.
No, it's all good. It's all good. You don't have to answer to anyone. See, yeah. Favorite artist? Well, obviously Halford. Trent Reznor has impressed me my whole life. That would be, he's definitely the top of my list of someone that I would love to work with. Because I just think he's stuck to who he is.
Yeah.
His whole creative career,
Yeah.
regardless of what was trendy or regardless of what they told him to do or regardless of, like, he really made his own rules, and like he said, like, Nine Inch Nails is his manifesto, period. Like, no one else can take credit for that. I'm a big Maynard fan. I love everything Maynard does. I like the singers that do more than one thing and like do it fucking great. They have side projects. They have their main thing and they have side projects, so they're able to like scratch all itches. Maynard's great at that. He's got Tool, but he's got Perfect Circle, but he's got Pussifer. I mean, it's like fucking badass. Chino Marino, Deftones, you know, he's got Churches, you know, or I mean Crosses, and he's got, what's that other side project he's got, Chino? Crosses.
Sleep, right?
Sleep, yeah, Team Sleep. Yeah, like I like the ones that are like, they're like, they explore. I like the explorers, you know.
You like Surge?
Well, yeah, of course, yeah. And then I like artists that are, they're just kind of little daredevils, you know. And like Annie Lennox, I think, is fantastic. She's a real daredevil. Captivating. Who else do I love? Oh God, The Cure is like perfect. Fuck.
Okay, which era of The Cure do you like? Or even if it's multiple. Okay.
I respect the entire catalog.
Man.
Yeah. The Cure is like, I always say to people, there's rarely things in life more perfect than The Cure. Right? Because like, it's such a cathartic experience seeing them live. If you haven't done it, I really recommend it.
Twice.
Okay. So you understand what I'm saying.
Yep.
Yeah. I warned my guy when I was like, listen, you're not gonna see me like this anywhere else. Like in this space, it's gonna be different. Like things are gonna be different. You know, I might cry, and I'm not a crier. I was like, you're going to see me cry. And he was like, really? I was like, yes. Just be prepared. I was like, feed me whiskey and rub my back. And he was like, okay, fair. And like, that's what we did. And that's how we experienced The Cure live, you know, and like, it's great. Depeche Mode is also like super high on my list. As far as like bands that I love and adore and respect, that I put into like an otherworldly category, you know. Who else? A band that I go to often nowadays is Sleep Token. Yeah, I love Sleep Token. Yeah, you do. They're saving metal right now. They really are. It's that serious. So if you don't know this band, like, I highly recommend seeing Sleep Token, or at least listening. The recordings are recorded beautifully, but they're kind of doing this thing that I always kind of like envisioned, like for my own music too. But maybe I guess they're doing it better than I am, because now they're like huge. But I was in a Sleep Token like years ago, and I was like, I can't believe no one like likes this band. And now all of a sudden it's like they're selling out everywhere they're playing.
I gotta check them out.
Yeah, and because this vocalist, his identity is hidden. He goes by, what's he go by? I forget his name that he goes by. He goes by some other name. But the band is called Sleep Token, right? And the songs are just like genre fucked metal. It's like you think it's one thing, and then all of a sudden it changes style on you, but it still like slaps. Yeah.
You ever heard of Secret Chiefs? Is it anything like Secret Chiefs?
Oh, like what?
Secret Chiefs?
Oh, I don't know. I don't know who that is. I'm gonna have to Google.
Trip. Look at some of the dudes from Faith No More were in that. That's that band's a trip.
Oh, I know what you're talking about. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, Sleep Token's the shit. Highly
Wow,
recommend.
I gotta check them out.
Dio obviously is like one of the greatest, most inspiring vocalists on the planet. I highly recommend the movie Dreamers Never Die, Never Say Die or whatever. Dreamers Never Die.
Yeah,
It was so
it's
awesome.
Kevin from Mr. Bungle. Sorry about
Yeah,
that. Yeah,
Mr. Uncle. Yeah.
I've seen Mr. Bungle.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
wow, Never Say Die is the name of the Dio movie. I mean, what is it?
Dreamers Never Say
Dreamers?
Die.
Huh.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah, those are like my top people. I mean, I love like progressive metal is like
Yeah.
my usual go-to.
I'm a King Crimson fan, by the way.
Yeah, me too.
Red.
Car Bomb. Car Bomb is like they don't get enough love, but like Car Bomb, they're from New York City.
Wow.
Really technical, mathy metal, like complex rhythms, like odd time signatures, like
I
the
dig
whole
that.
works. So like if you're a music junkie or nerd and like you really want to hear like technical stuff, it's like it's fucking paradise for your brain because it's just like it's so heavy and then
Sure.
beautiful. Like there's all these great moments of like tension and release, and it's just the writing is brilliant. It's brilliant. There's nothing like them.
Car
Yeah,
Bomb.
highly recommend Car Bomb.
Oh,
I gotta
Yeah.
check that out, man. I dig a lot of that
Okay.
stuff, man. Like,
Yeah.
I mean, Naked City, Mr. Bungle, like Ruins, like just crazy stuff. Frank Zappa, of course, but I'm into all that stuff. I love that. That
Mhm.
name Car Bomb sounds crazy, though. I really gotta check that out.
Okay, so after you listen to Car Bomb, you can send me a message and let me know your rating or what you think or what you have to
Oh
say.
heck yeah,
What are your first initial comments?
man.
Yeah, because I
I'm
would
still
love to know.
tripping off the fact that your dad sitting you, I mean, had you in a room with King Crimson. Like I discovered those cats when I was like probably about like 11 to 12 years old, and I was the only kid that I knew that listened to that band, Lark Tongues and Aspect One.
Yeah.
And I could only imagine, like, what did you even think when you heard that, and what album was it?
Oh, it was In the Court of the Crimson King.
Oh
It was
wow,
the one with that amazing like fold out album with the screaming face, like
that, yeah,
which I
that's
was like, how the fuck? I was like, who drew this? And like, how the fuck did they like? It was all these. I had so many questions, but I remember listening to Court of the Crimson King, being like, if only I could be part of something that was as epic as this.
wow.
Like that would just like make my life. I finally saw King Crimson live
Bam. This
a
freaking
year
bad,
ago. Yeah, like
bad
someone was
isn't
like,
good, like.
yeah. So it was like Steph Paynes from Led Zeppelin was like, oh yeah, I'm going to see King Crimson tonight,
And
and we got an extra ticket, and I was like, hi, that's mine. Like I was like, or whatever it was. My bass player Guido went, and then so I was like, are there still tickets? And she's like, where? And I was like, okay, I'm getting it. So I grabbed some tickets, and I don't fuck around. I'm in the orchestra. I like was not sitting in the back for
heck
this.
yeah.
I was like, I'm up in the front. I think I was the only person in the audience that didn't have a bald spot. But it was all good. And like they just fucking played, man. They played. Oh my god, there was like multiple percussionists, and it was just like it's like it's candy, the
Oh
music
yeah.
is candy. It's just there's so much depth. Like it was epic. I'm so glad I got to see them. Yeah.
Yeah, that that
Highly
especially.
recommend.
Oh yeah, you're gonna laugh. I had been into King Crimson for a long time, and I finally got to see them. I went. I barely had money. I had $40. Like I had like probably about like $60 in my account. I got 40 out to buy tickets from this bootlegger dude. He like just had tickets because they were sold out, and I got them. Not only that, I got fourth row, and they started with the very first song that I heard. I had to calm down because I was just like, I was hyperventilating. I was like, oh.
Sure. Yeah, I get
They
it. And that's why concerts will never go out of style.
No.
yeah.
It's because of that feeling right there. There won't. Concerts will never go out of
Nope.
style. It's like live music is everything. That's my church.
Yeah.
It's church of rock and roll. Like, because some people go to fucking, you know, they do the church thing and that's their salvation. And for me, it's always rock and roll is my salvation every time. That's
I
why,
go to
like,
an Ethiopian
anyone's,
Orthodox church and I still go to shows. You know, like
yeah,
I'm
but that's why I'm
all over
saying
the
that
place.
anyone's opinion of why I'm there or should I be there doesn't matter
Yep.
because it's my salvation. So, you know,
It's a release.
yeah.
It's a total release. It's funny. One of my friends, she's really into like a lot of holistic type stuff, and she was asking me like she has some negative opinions about heavy metal, but I told her, I'm like, look, there's other studies, not just those ones that people are giving you like that are saying it's negative. There's a lot of release that goes into this kind of music. I feel so elated when I'm playing it. Like I don't feel angry. I feel really high energy.
Yeah.
People might think that I'm being violent on stage, but no,
Yeah.
no, it's just
Well, that's
you
why
know.
they say like metalheads are like happier people, or because you get the release, you know. But it's
Yes.
true. It's true. You have a space where you can like fully let go. It's the best
Oh
thing on
yeah.
earth. Yeah, totally.
Going to shows and even slam dancing. Dude, I saw something
Oh, hey, Sean Fair.
oh dude,
What's up, babe? Aw,
what's up, man?
I haven't
So
seen you in a
cool.
while. You're overdue for a hang, Mr. Fair.
Man, so
Yeah.
cool. Deacon Sonny Carr says metal rules. Yes, it
Fuck
does.
yeah, it does. Forever.
Man.
Eternal.
Dude,
Yeah.
have you guys seen this video where people are doing push-ups at shows now? I'm like,
Yeah.
what the hell?
I mean,
What is
whatever
that?
you need.
I was used to the old slam dancing. What the hell? Like I'm like, I'm old as F. Like
Nah,
I
man. You know what? I value anybody that chooses to do like anything in the pit, pretty much, because it's just like, if that's a safe space, like do whatever you feel.
I
Sure,
just
whatever.
tripped out. I'm like, we doing this now in these streets?
Sure. I mean, most of the
You
time
gonna
it's just for Instagram. They're just doing it for Instagram, but whatever. It's like, it is
Stuff
what
is
it is.
comedy.
I don't know. Normalize push-ups and mosh pits. I mean, come on.
Dude, I just get a workout just by being, dude, I'll be 50 next year and I'm still pitting, man. Like I'll freaking like go out and just rage, man. Like it's
Yeah.
hard for me not. Like I do that in breakdance and pop lock. I mean, how could you not? It's just high energy music. You know what I'm saying?
Right. My issue is like I mean the pit's okay, but I love a crowd surf. I'm a stage
Oh
diving crowd
Lord.
surfer. That's my thing, is I really love the crowd surfing. But you know, that's not the safest thing in the world either, is
No,
it?
I
You
got
know,
hurt.
but I don't know, but to me it's like it's so fun. There's actually like a video of, oh god, this is so bad. There's a video going around of like Gojira was supposed to play this venue downtown in New York a while ago, years ago. It was like, I would say it was a good 8 years ago. And that venue like got shut down and they had to move venues. They had to change locations and they couldn't like just get in anywhere. So they ended up playing the studio at Webster Hall, which was like the basement, and it's like where the indie bands play. You know, like I
Yeah.
played the studio at Webster Hall. And fucking Gojira played at the studio at Webster Hall because there was nowhere else to play. And so the stage at Webster Hall at the studio is like, you know, it's small-ish, but there's like a staircase that goes up from the floor. And I was like, everyone's standing there like this, you know, because it's New York. You know, everyone's like, oh, yeah. Right, acting so indifferent when really they're going crazy inside. And I was like, wow, I'm surprised no one's run up on stage to be on with the band yet. And I was like, I might be that bitch. And so, you know, took a shot of whiskey, and I was like, fuck it. No one else has like, it hasn't sunk in how accessible they are at the moment, and everyone's being kind of polite. I was like, I'm gonna bring the motherfucking ruckus, so I just ran up there. I like hoisted my titties up and I jumped into the crowd. And the guys were so shocked because, you know, they're French, you know, they're European guys. So they were just like, who the fuck is this chick with like, chick fucking runs up while they're like doing their fucking shit, you know? And like I'm right center stage in the middle of all of it, and with a huge afro, and jump off and set their show off. And I think they were recording like Gojira Live in New York DVD, so it's on there somewhere for sure.
Man.
It's like I think their tour manager, somebody on their team, came up to me afterward. They were like, "That's so going in the video," and I was like, "I'm sure."
So funny, man. Next, like, I know who that chick is.
But yeah, like because metal gets me excited. So like when shit starts going, I kind of want to pop off, you know. So it's like fuck it, and anything goes, you know, as long as you're not like hurting anyone. That's the joy of metal. Yeah, there's so much freedom. So yeah, it's very inspiring.
That's rad.
And like I like the same energy at my shows. I love it when people come up and fucking stage dive and like whatever when I'm playing. Like I think that's fucking great. You know, I like the chaos of it. I do. I honestly really love the chaos. As long as nobody gets fucking hurt, that's how it's supposed to go down. Like, don't hurt anybody, do your shit, get your yayas out, and like keep it metal. Like that's it. You know, some people have like criticized me for having a fire element in my shows.
Oh wow!
Like, oh, aren't you worried about, you know, this, that, and the other? Oh, your carrot catch on fire, this and that. I'm like, not really. I mean, kind of know what I'm doing here. I've been handling the flame for a while. So if you haven't seen me live yet, like, definitely experience this at some point in time in your life, because there's fire elements that have gotten me in trouble in some places. I'll be quite frank.
Tell us about that. I didn't, man. Uh-oh.
Yeah, I'm on a list with the New York Fire Department, but that's okay.
Dude, you're like on so many lists.
Okay, I can't help it.
Rebel.
Well, like, okay, so the BRC wanted me to do a show at Brooklyn Academy of Music on Halloween. And I was like, fuck yeah, I'll do that. And then I had just started hiring this amazing saxophone player named Stefan. He's so awesome. And I didn't tell him that I told him he was a saxophone player. I left out the part that a 6-foot flame comes out of his saxophone.
Wait, huh? How?
Yeah. Magic, baby.
That's heavy, man.
So I was just like, oh yeah, my sax player's coming. He'll be here later. And then we did the show, and we unleashed the flame, and the stage manager was like, stop! I mean, it was chaos. And then the song was over, and then that was it. And I was like, I'm definitely in deep shit. Like, I knew I was in trouble, but I was like, whatever, it was worth it. You know, it was Halloween, anything goes. And it was my show, you know. And I was like, fuck it.
Halloween, you into horror films too.
Oh yeah, very much so. Yeah. So like that's why I had to bring it on Halloween. It was like I wanted to create a memorable Halloween experience for the people that came to see me.
Man.
And so during the course of the night, there were 3 key aspects that have made it so I'm banned from Brooklyn Academy of Music for life. And so the 3 reasons why I'm banned from BAM is, number 1, I'm banned because at the beginning of the show, I was wearing stiletto boots and I punctured the monitors with my boots. And then when I pulled out of it, the monitors fell on the floor and crashed and died. But I paid the fines on that. And then secondly, my saxophonist was blowing the 6-foot flame inside of, and I didn't even think about this, it's a landmark building. So it was pretty serious offense to do that there, which didn't even cross my mind at all. I'm like, oh yeah, that would make sense that it was a landmark building. So that made the offense itself like a lot worse. Yeah. And also when the fire went out, they have a rule there that you can't record video or take pictures in that room. So of course, when the fire came out, everybody's phones went up and they were filming the whole thing. So it
Oh
was like a
wow.
triple whammy,
Oh,
like this middle finger trifecta that happened. And they were like, you just made so much paperwork for us. And I was like, right. I was like, but it was all in the name of fun, right? And they were like, no. They were like, so you're banned.
Oh,
You're
oh
banned.
man.
You're banned from this location. Like, do not step foot in the door. You are
Are you
banned. And
serious? Like,
they
wow,
said,
dude.
you know, you have these fines, and your name is going on a list with the New York Fire Department. I was like,
Damn.
fair. I was like, got it. Right. So now when I play places, I usually have to sign a contract that says that I will not blow fire in their establishment.
wow. You,
Right. So that
you,
happened.
So that festival that you
Like,
played, I'm sure that they're open to anything like that by your
well, the
description.
last few times that I played venues in New York, they were like, so you're not going to blow fire. Can we get your word that you're not going to have
Wow,
fire?
that's
Can
heavy,
you
man.
sign this saying you're not going to have fire? And I'm like, yes. Like I don't do the forgiveness, you know, not permission thing anymore, which was like kind of like my MO. I mean, I've done it at venues where they just like didn't even bat an eyelash. I didn't even have to ask, or I didn't ask. And they were
yeah.
just like, oh, no one got hurt. Okay. You know,
Sheesh.
yeah. So like, well, yes. So the proper way to do it is that you hire the NYPD to send reps down.
Mm.
That we do a fire test, and then they do like we have to show them a demonstration of how close the fire is to other people, how
Wow.
the instrument works. And now like I have another fire element. I have a flaming megaphone. So like when I sing into it and it blows a 6 foot flame. And I
How
use
on
like
earth?
I know, and I use a burner microphone, right? So like I don't use like the venue's mic. I bring a mic that like I can set on fire, like fire touches it, right? And some places are totally cool for that and are good with going through the proper procedure to do that. But most venues like don't want to sign the paperwork, right?
Wow.
So there's part of the contract is that they have to sign off. The landlord has to sign off that they
Yeah.
are aware that there is open flame in their building and they
Yikes.
give their permission. And most landlords don't want to do that.
Gothic Hangman asked, can't you just hire a fire marshal?
Yeah, but that's the thing. So like when I play outdoor festivals, the fire department, we hire them to come and monitor the performance, the rehearsal, whatever, and they stay all night until we're done blowing fire. You know,
That's
so I
heavy,
do that
man.
when I play House of Yes. They're there, they do that, you know, and that's part of the deal. I have a fire professional that deals with all the paperwork for me.
Wow.
Right?
Wow.
She's an amazing fire artist. Her name is Cinder. She's a performance artist and fire eater and all the things. And she handles my paperwork anytime I go to a venue, right? But sometimes, if it's like a festival setting, they'll take care of it and I don't have to do it, which is like a relief, right?
That's cool.
Because
Ooh.
you have to pay for it. They don't come down for free,
Yeah.
you know? So like you gotta pay. So
Dang.
and some venues would rather you just like not say anything because they don't want their landlord to know that you did some shit in their venue.
Mm.
Right.
I wonder what Arthur Brown had to do when he, Arthur Brown who made that song Fire. I wonder if he had to go through the same thing.
I don't know if that stuff was on the books yet, you know? I think people
Man.
only started getting concerned really about fire safety after the Great White Incident.
Oh.
Right.
Ooh.
So now it's like more serious. But I have to say the Great White Incident and Michael Jackson Pepsi commercial incident were because of sparks. It was not a flame, it was sparks, and sparks are way harder to control.
Wow.
You know? Because sparks spray,
Yeah.
right? They go everywhere, and you can't really like contain it properly. But I'm using propane tanks that are bought on Amazon, by the way. Propane tanks, and the flame has like comes out of like a pilot light. It's like a pilot light, like you would find on a stove, and you light it with a lighter, and then it propels, right? So it goes straight, right? You don't ever have to worry about it going down,
Wow.
right? It's never going to go down because the flame is projecting it forward, right? So mine is actually very much safer than most people would think, you know, because it's only going in one direction. It's never
it's a trip
fly.
it's a trip to even know what's going all into that. Like, you're telling us all this, and I'm like, wow, dude, like, man, and then all the stuff that you have to go through.
So I always wanted to know. So now I know. This is awesome.
Well, like the other thing too is because I always wanted to blow fire as part of my show, but I never wanted to ingest the chemicals that you have to do to blow it out of your mouth, you know, and then like have to hop on and sing. And I know like there's some singers that do that, like very few.
Gene Simmons, right?
It's a bitch. Yeah, Gene Simmons does it. Dillinger Escape Plan did it, you know.
Wow.
Yeah, and like I was just like, I will never put that fucking chemical in my mouth. I just won't. No. Plus, like, it runs down your face and shit. I just, no. This is so much tidier. It's just so much safer. Like, my buddy who made the flaming saxophone, and I've played with, like, Fire the Band, like, full band with every instrument shooting fire, right?
That's insane.
It's
I gotta
awesome.
see this.
Yeah. Oh yeah, I've got the photos around my IG. So if you look in the highlight sections, you'll see one with a little flame on it. Go to that section.
That's heavy.
Okay.
Yeah. But like, I gotta tell you,
man.
once you start playing shows with pyro, you don't want to stop.
That's an addiction.
It is. It's highly addictive. It is. It's highly addictive. And so like, now that I have this new, my friend custom made this flaming megaphone for me, because I had very like specific specs on how I wanted it to operate and what I wanted it to look like, and like how intense it would be, where I could keep the propane tank and all this kind of stuff. Like, it was like very specific list of demands that I wanted from him, and he made it for me.
Wow.
That's heavy, man.
So there's like, on my IG, you can see like my initial test demonstrations of it. And then I finally used it on stage at Wasteland this year. But yeah, what's amazing is that like I got onto a plane with that.
Air sprays.
Like,
Crazy.
they didn't even search my carry-on.
Wow.
It was in my carry-on. There was like all this tubing and like all this plumbing to it and stuff. They didn't fucking say shit. My water got confiscated. I was like, confiscate my water, but did you see this? I almost wanted to show it to them, be like, by the way, you let this through, and didn't even question. Like, what did you think this was? By the way, okay, fine. Whatever. I guess it's better than having to explain what it is. And risk getting it confiscated. Yeah. So, but I really love the piece. I feel so excited to like have it be part of my show. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, it's really fun. But like, there's so few places that want me to use it. So I don't know.
Man.
Yeah. They're like, oh,
militia,
you do that? They're like, oh, you do that? Yeah, don't do that here. I'm like, okay.
Militia's my name for a reason. No,
yeah, it's true. I earned this name, you know? It's like for good reasons. Yeah. Very cool. Yeah, you gotta check out the photos. It's like, and the videos. I'll post more too.
Yeah.
That'd be rad.
Yeah.
Well, I know it's getting late for you guys. I wanted to ask about your grindcore band, but I know like it's like probably about 11 to 12 over there, right?
Oh, yeah, it's midnight.
After midnight.
Oh, shoot. And man, dude, I really appreciate like you like doing this, and like, you know, man, what parting things would you leave like any like just I like your quote, disgrace your stereotypes. That's a strong quote, man. Is there anything else that you would like to give, and also your social media presence and all that, like whatever, you know, like parting like words and whatnot, and just sorry, I'm like, what?
It's all good. God, parting words. Yeah, disgrace your stereotype was something that I came up with after I'd gotten called for a theater opportunity, and I sang for, oh God, there was this awful musical called Bear, the musical. I don't know if you ever heard about it.
No, it sounds funny.
BARE. And I sang a rock song, and when I got there, I was like, "Oh, you want me to audition for this part, right?" And they were like, "Oh no, that character's white. No, we want you to come in and sing the gospel song." And I was like, I sang Led Zeppelin at my audition. Oh yeah, no, that character's white. I was like, right. And so I sang this music, and the playwright said to me, "Yeah, that was great. Let's do it again and really just black out." And I was like,
Oh boy.
repeat that. I don't understand what you're saying to me. What did you say again? And he's like, "Oh, black out. Just like really, just like real black. Just really, just super black." And I was like, "Right, okay. I thought that's what you said. Okay, all right." And I sang it the same way. And he was like, "Oh, but next time." I was like, "I'm good. We're done here." And I
Wow.
was leaving there, and I had called a friend, and it was like, fuck. It was like he just wanted me to like embrace all the stereotypes of blackness. That's what he was asking me to do. And I was like, "Oh, embrace your stereotype, disgrace your stereotype." And I was
Wow.
like, "I'm gonna put that on a shirt one day," and it did.
I would, I would definitely wear it.
Yeah. Yeah. So I think, like, I don't know, I guess all of this just to say, like, at the end of it all, you just have to be true to yourself, and the rest is all fucking noise.
Mm, yep.
Yes.
The rest is noise. Like, I don't know. That's it. There's really nothing else to say. Like, this is heavy, but I'll just mention it quickly. My mom passed away a year ago tonight.
Mm.
Rest in
Um,
peace.
and
Wow. I'm sorry.
it's that's all right. It's all right because um, you know, she's teaching me still. And I spent like most of my life rebelling against her.
Mm.
And then it's crazy when the person that you look to rebel against disappears,
Mm.
right? And then you don't really have anything to prove to anyone, right? I mean, ultimately, I've always answered to myself, but she was a central figure in my life as to somebody that I constantly felt like I needed to prove things to, or like get accomplishments, or get awards or get recognition or whatever stuff that she could brag to her neighbors about in the family, like whatever it was. That was the validation to her for the lifestyle that I chose. And then when that piece is taken out of the pie, you still have to like make your own pie, you know? So her presence being gone in this realm, or whatever you want to say, it's definitely put a spin on how I view the world, how I view religion, how I view family life, how I view my life. Um, the whole global perspective of like, what does it all mean? It's like a very existentialist moment for me, and I was able to address that in Desires of This World, like my last single, like kind of like touch on that lyrically. But yeah, it's a whole new, it's not even a whole new chapter, it's a whole new book,
Mm.
right? I don't know if either of you or anyone that's listening has lost parents before.
I
um
lost my father a few years ago. I know
Yeah,
how you
see,
feel.
yeah, it's a whole new way of living, and
Yep.
thank goodness for the fucking music, you know?
Yeah.
Thank goodness for the music. So I guess that is all sufficing to say, like, if you have your family, if you have your parents or you have your kids or whatever, and you try to discourage them from being an artist or being a musician or being a singer, and you try to control what their dreams are, I think that's dangerous and like unfair. So even though my mom tried to control my destiny, it was like I was going to do whatever I wanted to anyway, and most kids are going to do what they want to anyway, right? So you might as well like support them and help them get closer to who they truly are sooner, faster, easier, and like love them regardless. Which she grew to appreciate my rebellious attitude and energy, and like I didn't get it from nowhere. She has it too. So she can say what the fuck she wants. But it was definitely from her. You know, we're both like headstrong females, headstrong Black women. And my father being Jewish and like marrying out of his race was like a whole other ordeal. That's a whole other episode. But like ultimately you do what brings you have to do what brings you the most happiness.
Yes, exactly.
Regardless of what anyone thinks, even your own flesh and blood. So, because if you make them happy, then one day you're like, fuck, I'm not happy. And then that doesn't work, right? So you have to, I serve the muse, you know, it's not even about me or my ego or anything. It's like, I feel lucky to be like a channel for music or a vessel for music. Actually, the lead singer of Sleep Token, his name is Vessel, that's right. Which I thought was like the greatest singer moniker name ever.
Yeah,
I'm like,
great name.
Spot on.
Yeah.
But I've always said that too. It's like I feel lucky to be like a vessel for this.
Yes.
And I just hope that over time, eventually I'll be a master at this, or I will be able to be like, you know, to reach like my version of Nirvana with this. My not the band, but like.
Oh, I know what you're saying.
Yeah. My version of enlightenment with it is what I am aiming for. Yes. And I get tastes of it often, which is great. And I'm sure you do too, Samantha, when you perform. You know, it's like that's why we do this.
Yes, exactly.
Yes. So anything that brings you closer to your true self is victory.
Yes.
And just said is so much confirmation. I love listening to other stories because it makes me feel less alien, I guess.
Embrace your alienhood.
I can't even do the Star Trek thing. I always fell at that.
It feels so fucking awkward. Yeah.
I can't even do it, man. Like,
why can I do it with my left hand easier? Oh, because like no. Why is it? I don't know. Guitar? I don't know. But why is this easier than I'm right here?
Yeah, I can do it with my right hand easier. Ooh.
Why am I doing it easier on my left? That's fucking weird. Okay. So live and prosper. Yeah.
Heavy, man.
Live heavy metal and prosper.
Rockin' madness. Rock that madness, homie.
Thank you guys so much for this.
Thank you. Thanks a million.
Appreciate it. And I appreciate you championing Black history of rock and roll. It's important that like people that do this are represented and have a platform where people give a fuck, you know, so that's nice. So thank you for giving a fuck.
Hey, we're all in this together, man. We're all rockers. We're all rocking madness, and we come from a tradition of people that have paved that way. You know, like there's so many of them that aren't even known, that don't get the love, and I'm trying to give them their flowers, and I'm trying to give you guys your flowers. It's the least that I could do, you know. Like,
yeah, I mean, it's like I feel like that's a whole other conversation. Artists that don't get their flowers till they're dead. Yeah, I used to say I was gonna fake my own death. I'll fake my own death to get the media coverage, and they'll be like, "Surprise!"
Man, I think
fuck
Tim
you all
Dog
for
tried to do
following
that.
this bullshit.
Yeah, that's crazy. Someone said Sid Vicious did that, and I'm like, I'm not messing with that, man. I'm like, dude.
Yeah. Rabbit hole. Yeah.
Yeah.
There's a lot to unpack there.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
who's left? Gothic Hangman stayed. Von Esper stayed. Hi, Monday. All right, gang. Cool. Good to see you guys in the midnight hour.
Well, thank you guys for all coming out. I mean, did any of you guys have anything to say? Yeah, Phil Laynott, rest in peace. Love that brother.
Right. Hell yeah.
Oh.
One of the best.
Yes.
Oh, there's my leather friend. Hi.
What's up, dude? So cool, man.
I peak at midnight.
Peak at midnight. Let's turn into a werewolf.
Awesome.
Man,
Thanks,
Miller.
Yes.
E. Miller is your name? Eric Miller, Mr. RBX. RBX is an amazing rapper, by the way. If you don't, he's from Long Beach, where I'm from.
No,
Oh, okay.
Ernest Miller
is
a New York City mainstay. He's like an institution. He's been in the vampire scene. He's in the rock scene. Absolutely. Like, good to see you on here. Thank you, Deacon Sunny.
Thank you, Deacon Sunny Carr.
Yeah.
Rad, man. Mad cat, man.
Mwah, 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 mwah. Good night. Be well.
Thank you, guys.
Be metal and prosper.
That's right. Black History Rock and Roll, Culture Rock Riyadh. Any like info you want to tell people where to find you, your social media? I mean, they probably know, but tell them anyways if you'd like.
Oh, sure. I'm at Militia is my name on all platforms. I guess follow me on Spotify because I don't really give a fuck and I kind of hate Spotify. But it's kind of like a thing that if you're not relevant on Spotify, they hold it against you. It's such a trap. I would love to burn their offices down. I can't stand it. There's such thieves. But whatever. I'm working on that. I'm in the Recording Academy and I'm trying to work on things that'll put laws on the books to make music theft, aka streaming, pay more royalties to artists.
Thank you.
Working on it. Yeah. So yeah, but otherwise, fuck them. But then follow me there. Because that's the shitty duality of our business. Yes. Awesome. Thank you guys for being so cool.
Thank you.
Awesome. Mwah. Good night.
Culture Rock Riyadh, Black History of Rock and Roll, Militia Vox. Is it Vox or Vox?
Vox.
Vox. Rocket Madness. You guys have a good one. And thanks again for coming out to this. Rock that madness, homie. Peace.